Children, let's study another very interesting topic which is related to adjectives, and that is the comparison of adjectives. We'll read these three sentences first. Number one, Tia's apple is big. What is the apple? Big. Kate's apple is bigger. Now what happens? It becomes bigger. Alice's apple is the biggest. What did we do? We start with Tia's apple, which was big. Then we went to Kate's apple, which was bigger. And then we went to Alice's apple, which was the biggest. So, when we see that the adjectives change in form, like the big becomes bigger and the bigger becomes biggest, to show comparison, they are called the degrees of comparison. Children, first we were talking about Tia's apple and we said that Tia's apple is big. So there was no comparison. We were just talking about one apple which belonged to Tia and it was big in size. Then what happened? We brought in Kate's apple which was bigger than Tia's apple. It was bigger in size. You started comparing these two apples with each other where Kate's apple was bigger than Tia's apple. Then what happened? We brought Alice's apple which was the biggest. Now we had three apples to compare, and amongst the three, which apple was the biggest? Alice's apple was the biggest. So what did we do? We compared the word big, as in we were comparing the size of the apple, wherein we got to know that Alice's apple is the biggest. Kate's apple was bigger than Tia's apple and Tia's apple was only big in size. So it was a positive degree where no comparison with anything was made. You were just talking about some quality. Then another apple came into consideration and you were comparing the sizes of these two apples where the second one was bigger than the first one. And then finally what happened? We got the biggest of the apple, and by seeing this apple we got to know that this was the biggest amongst these three. Now I told you that when the adjectives change in form from big to bigger to biggest, to show comparison, what are we doing? We are showing the comparison in the size. It is called the degrees of comparison. The first degree is known as the positive, where you just talk about one thing. Then comparative, when you're talking about two things. When two things are compared, it is called comparative. And when we talk about the last, which is the ultimate, which is maybe the biggest or the slowest of some form, it is called the superlative degree. So we have three degrees in adjectives. First being the positive, second which is the comparative, and third which is the superlative. They are called as the degrees of comparison. Children, now let us see how we compare the adjectives. Adjectives can be compared by adding ER or EST to the end of the adjective. Like you saw, we have big, bigger, biggest. In the same way, we have small, smaller, and then the smallest. So what have we done? We have added ER or EST. It was small, 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 then smaller, 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 and then smallest, SMALLEST. So what have we done? We have added the letters ER or EST to the adjective to compare them. Children, what you can also do is, they can also be compared by using more or most. because in all the words you cannot use ER or EST. All the adjectives which are of one syllable, as in the word is of one sound, you use ER or EST. But when the word has two or more than two syllables, then you use more or most. Like beautiful, beauty plus full, two syllable here. So you do not make it beautifuler, beautifulest. You use more beautiful and most beautiful. In the same way like powerful. You don't say powerfuler, powerfulest. You say more powerful, most powerful. Then use the positive to talk about one thing. So the positive degree speaks always about one thing. Then we use ER or more to compare two things, like bigger, ER, more beautiful. Okay, so you're comparing two things. Then use EST or most to compare more than two things. That is the superlative. Like biggest and most beautiful. So these are the basic rules which you apply when you are comparing adjectives, but a few exceptions are always there. I hope you have understood how you would be going ahead by comparing these adjectives. Now that we have studied the degrees of comparison in adjectives, and we know that there are three degrees, the positive, the comparative and the superlative, let us write down these 10 in your notebook so that children you may learn them. Number 1, kind. Comparative, kinder. Superlative, kindest. Children, now we are talking about the one syllable words where there is only single sound coming from the word. So you are adding ER and EST to them. Number 2, sweet. Sweeter, sweetest. Number 3, thin, thinner, thinnest. Fat, fatter, fattest. Then you talk about beautiful. Two syllable in the word. Two syllable. Beauty and full. So what are you going to use? More beautiful, most beautiful. In the same way for powerful. More powerful, most powerful. Then intelligent. Intelli and gent. So more intelligent, most intelligent. And I have told you that there are going to be a few exceptions also. So good, better, best. Then bad, worse, worst. Number 10, little, less, least. So these are the 10 words which I have written down for you, and I want you to learn them and realize where the rules are changing. How when the word was one syllable you were adding ER or EST, where there were two syllables you were adding more and most, and a few exceptions to the rules. Please have a look at these 10 words nicely and write them in your notebooks. Now that we have tried a hand at understanding what degrees of comparison are and writing those 10 words, I think this exercise is going to be easy for you. So let's have a look. We have to fill in the blanks with the correct degree of adjectives. Number 1. Apples are dash than pears. Sweet. You are comparing two. So you have to write the comparative degree of the word sweet here. Sweet is one syllable word. So remember what you will be putting here for the comparative degree. Then number 2. Peter is the dash boy in my class. The word in the bracket is strong. Now because you have used the word the here, you would be using the superlative degree because you are talking about the entire class. You are not comparing two objects. You are comparing Peter to all the boys in the class. So you are going to use the superlative degree for the word strong. Then number 3. Adi is the dash player in the club. Again, you can see the is there. So you have to write the superlative degree of the word good. You can go back to the 10 words that I had given you and see what was the superlative degree of the word good. Then number 4, he is very dash. If you look at this sentence carefully, you would realize that you are just talking about one boy. So, which degree it will be? It will be the positive degree. So, which word is given to you in the positive degree? Polite. So, see if you would be changing it or not. Now, we come to the last sentence of the exercise, which is, the purple daisy looked the dash of all the flowers. The word is beautiful, and you will realize that the has been used. So, which degree of adjective are you going to be putting there? You are going to be putting the superlative degree of adjective. So, what was the superlative degree for the word beautiful? Just recall from the chart that you have already done before this. So, this is one exercise, children, which you will be doing in your notebook. And I hope the concept of adjectives is clear. We will take a quick recap where adjectives are known as the describing words. The words which describe nouns. Something which add to the quality of noun. Those words are called as adjectives. And I hope you had a good time learning adjectives with me. Thank you.